Have you ever wondered why some people, even when they go through storms, still carry a gentle smile and somehow always find a way out? As if life itself is secretly taking care of them? Have you ever noticed that those who sincerely say thank you more often, who remember kindness and let go of bitterness, rarely end up completely broken inside, no matter what they experience? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. It is good to meet you again here, in this little space where we talk honestly about life, destiny, cause and effect, and the inner practice that quietly shapes everything. Today we are going to explore one of the most underrated forces in the human heart: gratitude. The text we are expanding from today poses a simple but powerful idea. It says that people who truly understand gratitude, who remember goodness, who consciously practice thankfulness, rarely have a fate that is completely miserable. Their lives may not always be glamorous. They may not always be rich or famous, but their destiny, in a deeper sense, is rarely dark. There is usually a light around them, a warmth in their relationships, a quiet protection shown in the way they move through difficulties. At first, this sounds like a nice motivational slogan, but if we look from the viewpoint of karma and inner practice, it is actually a very practical law. Gratitude is not just saying thanks out of politeness. It is a way of seeing, a way of understanding cause and effect, a way of relating to life that changes everything from your nervous system to your relationships to the very path of your destiny. So, in this long video script, we will walk together through 3 extended stories. Each story shows a different face of gratitude. The first story is about someone who grows up feeling that nothing is ever enough, and then slowly discovers how gratitude transforms emptiness into fullness without changing a single external thing. The second story is about a woman who, in her dark season, uses gratitude as a lifeline, and in doing so, changes not only her own inner world, but the fate of her entire family. The third story is about a man who seems unlucky on the surface, but whose deep, consistent gratitude becomes a powerful field of merit that protects him at critical moments. Along the way, we will talk about how gratitude connects to awakening, wisdom, karma, compassion, practice, and destiny, not as fancy words, but as living realities in daily life. So, take a breath, maybe hold a warm drink in your hand. Let us begin. The first story starts with a familiar feeling: I never have enough. His name is Jason. If you looked at his life from the outside in his early 20s, you might have felt a little envy. He grew up in a middle-class family. He never went hungry. He went to decent schools. He had a phone, a computer, a bed to sleep in, parents who stayed together. Nothing dramatic, nothing luxurious, but compared to many people in the world, it was already a lot. Yet inside, Jason felt constantly poor. In school, when classmates got new shoes or the latest device, his heart would twist. His family could not always keep up with trends, and every time he saw someone else get something he did not have, a quiet voice inside would whisper, "Why do they have it and I do not?" Life is unfair. When relatives praised other children for winning awards or going to prestigious schools, Jason felt invisible. No one was cruel to him, but he rarely heard sincere appreciation either. By the time he entered university, this inner pattern had solidified. No matter what he achieved, he immediately compared it to what others had. He got a scholarship and felt happy for one day. The next day, he heard that someone else got an even bigger one, and his joy evaporated. He found a part-time job, but when he saw friends whose parents paid for everything, he thought, "They have it easier than me." On social media, he saw travel photos, romantic dinners, new cars. Each image was like a small needle in his heart. He had never been taught the practice of gratitude. In his family, the main emotional language was worry and complaint. His parents worked hard, but at the dinner table they often focused on what was lacking: rising prices, ungrateful relatives, unfair bosses, missed chances. They loved him, but their way of speaking created an atmosphere where scarcity felt normal. So Jason learned to see life as a battlefield for limited resources. Even when something good happened, he did not feel safe. He thought, what if it disappears? What if it is not enough? What if others are still ahead of me? His mind was like a cup with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much good flowed in, it leaked out quickly. Then, in his late 20s, something happened that shook him out of this trance. One evening, he met an old schoolmate named Paul at a small gathering. They had not seen each other in years. Paul walked in with a cane. Half of his body moved stiffly. His speech was slow but clear. It turned out that 2 years earlier, Paul had suffered a serious stroke. At an age when most people are just building their lives, he had suddenly lost much of his physical freedom. They sat together in a corner and talked. Jason, feeling awkward, asked, "How are you holding up?" expecting a wave of complaint or sadness. Instead, Paul smiled, a little lopsided because of the nerve damage, and said something that Jason would never forget. "I used to complain all the time," he said slowly, "about how little I had. Now, after the stroke, every small thing feels like a gift. Being able to walk, even with a cane, being able to swallow food, hearing my parents' voices, watching the sky change color. None of this is guaranteed. I understand that now. Every morning when I wake up and realize I am still here, I say thank you, even if the day is difficult." Jason was stunned. He expected bitterness. Instead, he saw something like light in his friend's eyes. It was not fake positivity. He could see the struggle, but beneath the struggle, there was a steady current of gratitude. On the way home that night, Jason could not stop thinking about that conversation. For the first time, he looked at his own life with a different question. Instead of asking, "What am I missing?" he asked, "What have I been taking for granted?" He noticed the obvious things first. His legs, moving without pain. His lungs, breathing without effort. His fingers, tapping out messages and holding chopsticks. His eyesight, reading words on signs and screens. His ears, hearing music and laughter. Every one of these functions, which he had ignored his whole life, now appeared as something almost miraculous. He realized that if any one of them disappeared tomorrow, he would be desperate to get it back. And yet, as long as he had them, he had never once sincerely thanked his body or life itself. This realization did something inside him. It was not a sudden explosion, more like a quiet but deep crack in an old wall. He decided to experiment with something that felt extremely strange at first. Each night before he went to sleep, he would write down 3 things he was genuinely grateful for that day. Not huge things, small ones. A warm shower after a long day. A message from a friend. The way sunlight came through the bus window. Finishing a task he had been procrastinating. His parents cooking his favorite dish when he visited home. At first, it felt like homework. Some days he was irritated and wanted to skip it, but he forced himself to continue, just as an experiment. After a few weeks, something subtle began to change. The muscles in his face softened. He smiled more easily. His sleep improved. The constant sense of never enough loosened its grip. It did not disappear, but it was no longer the only voice in his mind. Even more surprisingly, his relationships shifted when he made a conscious effort to say thank yous sincerely to people around him, not as a formality, but as a real acknowledgement. They responded differently. His parents, who had always been focused on his weaknesses, softened when he thanked them for specific things they had done. His colleagues seemed more willing to cooperate when he appreciated their efforts instead of taking them for granted. One day, after about 6 months of this daily gratitude practice, he caught himself in a moment that would have seemed impossible a year earlier. He was on a crowded subway, tired after work. Someone stepped on his foot, and his first thought was not anger, but at least I have a job to be tired from, and feet that can still stand. He almost laughed at himself. Who was this person thinking such thoughts? From a spiritual perspective, what was happening was simple. He was rewiring his karmic habits. For years, he had trained his mind to see lack, comparison, and unfairness. Now, day by day, he was training it to notice gifts, connections, and support. Gratitude was not changing the outside world. It was changing his lens. And when the lens changes, the world itself looks different. His fate did not suddenly turn into a fairy tale. There were still setbacks. There were still bills. There were still days when he forgot to be grateful and fell back into old complaining. But now he had a tool. He had experienced directly that gratitude was not a naive denial of problems, but a way of staying connected to the bigger picture even when problems arose. Years later, when someone asked him, "Why do you think your life feels lighter now than it did before?" he did not point to any particular achievement. He simply said, "I used to live as if everything good was owed to me, and everything bad was an insult. Now I live as if everything good is a gift, and every challenge is a teacher." That one shift has changed my whole inner climate. That is the first key point. Gratitude changes your inner climate. And when the climate of your heart changes from constant winter to something more like spring, of course, the seeds of your destiny sprout differently. The second story is about gratitude in the middle of real darkness. Her name is Maria. From the outside, people might describe her life as unlucky. In her early 40s, she faced 3 heavy blows almost at once. Her husband lost his job. Her son fell into depression and stopped going to school. Her mother was diagnosed with cancer. The family's savings began to drain away under medical bills. The apartment that used to feel warm and noisy became tense and heavy. Maria had always been a responsible person. She worked, cooked, managed the home. She rarely thought about concepts like karma or spiritual practice. She simply tried to do her best. But this series of crises pushed her to the edge. For months, she lived in a state of constant anxiety. She woke at 3 in the morning with her heart racing, mind filled with worst-case scenarios. How will we pay the rent? What if treatment fails? What if my son never recovers? What if we lose everything? Her body began to show signs of collapse, hair falling out, immune system weakening, digestion in knots. One afternoon, after a particularly painful hospital visit with her mother, she came home and found herself standing in the kitchen, staring at the sink overflowing with dishes, feeling a wave of despair so strong she had to hold on to the counter. In that moment, a thought rose inside her. I cannot go on like this. If I keep feeding my mind only fear and bitterness, I will collapse before anyone else. That evening, she remembered something her grandmother used to say when she was a child. Whenever something bad happened, the old woman would close her eyes, take a breath, and say softly, "Even now." there is still something to thank life for. As a child, Maria found this sentence annoying. Now, in her 40s, she heard it in a different way. Almost out of desperation, she decided to try an experiment similar to Jason's, but with her own twist. Every night, before bed, she would force herself to name out loud at least 3 things from that day that she could be grateful for. Even in the middle of her problems, the first night, it was hard. Her mind resisted. It wanted to replay only the dark scenes, her mother in pain, her son silent in his room, her husband staring at job listings with hollow eyes. But she forced herself to look for even a tiniest point of light. She said, aloud to the empty room, "Today I am grateful that the nurses were gentle with my mother. I am grateful that we still have a home to come back to. I am grateful that my son, even though he is hurting, is still here with us." Her voice shook. Tears came. It was not a happy moment. It was a raw one. The second night, she added, "I am grateful that my body still allows me to walk to the hospital. I am grateful that my husband cooked dinner when I was too tired. I am grateful that my mother smiled at me for a second today." Again, she cried. The gratitude did not erase the pain, but it created a small island in the middle of it. As days turned into weeks, this nightly gratitude ritual became her lifeline. Some days, she could only find simple things: hot water in the shower, a stranger holding the elevator door, a bus that arrived on time. But she realized something important. These small points of light did not exist only on the days when she noticed them. They had always been there. She just never looked. Gradually, her inner posture changed. She still had to fight through exhaustion and fear. Nothing was magically fixed overnight. But now, when she woke at 3 in the morning, instead of letting her mind spin freely through catastrophic fantasies, she would silently list things she was grateful for. Even in the middle of the night, it did not send her back to sleep instantly, but it prevented her from sinking into endless panic. From a spiritual viewpoint, what she was doing was guarding the door of her mind. Instead of letting negativity flood in completely, she was insisting on keeping a small candle of gratitude lit. That candle gave her enough light to take the next step each day. Interestingly, her outer life also began to respond. Her new attitude did not mean she stopped taking action. On the contrary, gratitude gave her more energy to act. She joined a support group for families of patients, where she both received and gave emotional support. She helped her husband redesign his resume and practiced interview questions with him at night. She took small daily walks with her son, not forcing him to talk, just quietly being there, sometimes sharing little things she had been thankful for that day. One evening, on one of those walks, her son finally opened up, saying, "I do not know how you still find things to be thankful for. Everything feels so heavy." She answered, "If I do not find them, I will drown. Finding them does not mean I like what is happening. It means I refuse to let the darkness tell me the whole story." Slowly, things shifted. Her husband found a new job. It was not perfect, but it brought some stability. Her mother's condition improved enough to come home for a while. Her son agreed to see a therapist and gradually climbed out of his depression with professional help and family support. Years later, when Maria looked back at that season, she did not say, "Gratitude made my problems go away." Instead, she said, "Gratitude kept me from collapsing." It was like a handrail on a steep staircase. It did not make the climb shorter, but it kept me from falling all the way down. From the standpoint of destiny, that handrail matters. When you collapse in despair, You often create new negative causes, snapping at those who love you, harming your own body, making impulsive decisions that create fresh problems. When gratitude keeps you just stable enough to act with some wisdom, you plant different seeds. Those seeds, in time, grow into different outcomes. This is the second key point. Gratitude in dark times is not denial. It is survival. It is a powerful spiritual practice that protects both your mind and your future. The third story is about gratitude as a long-term karmic investment. His name is Ben. If you met him in his 50s, you would see a man with a weathered face, calloused hands, and a simple way of speaking. He did not look like someone destiny had treated especially well. He worked manual jobs for most of his life. He was never rich. He lived in a small apartment with modest furniture. He did not own a car. By material measures, he was ordinary. And yet, people around him often said, he is lucky in a very specific sense. Many times he came very close to serious accidents or disasters, and each time something or someone intervened at the last moment. A falling object narrowly missed him. At a construction site, a job he was about to take fell through, and later he learned that the company went bankrupt and did not pay its employees. A health issue was caught early during a routine check that he almost skipped. If you asked him how he explained this, he would not talk about coincidence. He would talk about gratitude. From his teenage years, Ben had developed a strong practice of saying thank you not only to people, but to life itself. He had grown up poor in a rural area. As a child, he often went to bed hungry. He knew what true lack felt like. When he moved to the city as a young man and began earning his own money, even though his wages were low, he saw every paycheck as a blessing. He knew it could easily have been different. Each morning, before leaving home, he would stand quietly for a moment and say in his heart, "Thank you for this new day. Thank you for the work I have, for the body that still moves, for the chance to do my best." Each night before sleeping, he would mentally review the day and thank every person who had helped him in any way, from the bus driver to his supervisor to the street vendor who sold him lunch. He also had a habit that others sometimes laughed at. Whenever he finished a job or left a place he had worked, he would silently bow his head for a second and thank that place for feeding him, even if the job had been hard and the boss unpleasant. For him, gratitude was not selective. It was an attitude toward all the conditions that sustained his life. Because of this, when he did something good for others, he did not feel that they owed him. He felt he was repaying a debt to life. When he helped a coworker move heavy boxes, he thought, "I was given strength today, so I will use it well." When he supported a neighbor during illness, he thought, "One day, I will be in need too. I am grateful that today I can give." Over decades, this deep, almost stubborn gratitude shaped his character. He rarely complained, not because he never had problems, but because his mind did not habitually rest on them. He saw problems as part of the price of being alive, not as personal insults from the universe. People noticed. Employers trusted him, even if they did not always treat him fairly. Neighbors liked him. Friends felt safe confiding in him. He created a field around him in which anger did not easily stay. Then came the event that really showed the power of his hidden gratitude. In his late 40s, he was working on a repair job on the outside of a building, several floors above ground. Despite safety protocols, a piece of scaffolding suddenly gave way. In that split second, his body tipped outward into open air. Death or serious injury seemed almost certain, but at that exact moment, A co-worker who was standing behind him, having just moved to adjust a tool, happened to be close enough to grab the back of his belt and yank him inward with all his strength. Ben crashed against the wall, his heart pounding, legs shaking. For a long time he could not speak. Later, when the initial shock wore off, he thanked his colleague again and again. The man brushed it off, saying anyone would have done the same. But both of them knew that if the colleague had been standing just a little further away, or had been distracted for even 1 second, the outcome would have been totally different. When Ben told his wife about it that night, he said quietly, "I feel like all the years of being grateful, of trying not to harm people, of appreciating every small protection, gathered in that one moment. It was as if life said, 'Not yet. You have more good to do.'" You might say this is just his interpretation. Maybe. But if you look at his life as a long story of choices and attitudes, his explanation fits the logic of karma very well. Gratitude had become not just a feeling, but a force. It had woven countless threads of goodwill with people, with places, with life itself. When he was in mortal danger, those threads tightened into a lifeline. This is the third key point. Gratitude over a lifetime becomes a powerful field of protection. It does not make you immortal, but it changes the way you move through danger. It can turn misfortune into near miss, disaster into lesson, chaos into turning point. Now, let us gather these 3 stories and see what they reveal together. First, gratitude changes how you experience what you already have. It turns ordinary things into miracles and stops you from wasting your life chasing shadows. A grateful heart is like a lens that makes hidden blessings visible. Second, gratitude is a medicine in dark times. It does not erase pain, but it keeps your soul from drowning. It gives you the strength to keep acting wisely, even when everything feels heavy. That wise action plants seeds for future light. Third, gratitude accumulates over time into a kind of invisible wealth. Not just emotional wealth, but karmic wealth. It builds relationships, trust, and subtle protection when you most need help. This wealth often pays out in ways you could not have predicted. So when the original text says that people who understand gratitude rarely have a terrible fate, it does not mean they never suffer. It means their destiny is shaped by a heart that is constantly saying thank you instead of why me. That orientation toward life changes everything. Now the important question is this: how can you, right now, in your actual circumstances, start to live this way without pretending, without forcing fake positivity over real wounds? You can begin exactly where you are, with honesty. If today you feel exhausted, resentful, or numb, you do not have to deny that. You can acknowledge, yes, I am tired. Yes, some things are really hard. And at the same time, you can ask, is there anything at all, even the smallest thing, that I can still be grateful for? Maybe it is as simple as this breath, this sentence, this moment, the fact that you still have the ability to listen, to think, to choose, the fact that somewhere, someone cares whether you live or not, the fact that you have survived everything life has thrown at you so far. Even if you are scarred, gratitude is not a feeling you wait for. It is a practice you choose. You can create a small daily ritual, like Jason and Maria did. It does not have to take long. At the end of the day, before your phone pulls you into a river of noise, pause and mentally or physically list 3 things from that day you are thankful for. The rule is they must be specific and honest. not vague generalities like "I am grateful to be alive" unless you really feel it that day. Maybe you are grateful for the taste of your dinner, or for a message you received, or for a moment of quiet on a crowded bus. At first, your mind may resist. It is used to focusing on problems. But if you stay with it, you will notice that the more you look for gratitude, the more you find. Not because you are spiritually bypassing reality, but because reality was always more balanced than your fear allowed you to see. You can also speak gratitude out loud to people. Many of us carry unspoken thanks. We appreciate parents, friends, mentors, but we rarely say it directly. We assume they know. Sometimes they do. Often, they do not in the way you think. Saying thank you sincerely, with eye contact and detail, is not just good manners. It is a form of spiritual practice. It humbles you and uplifts them at the same time. It also strengthens the bond between you, weaving threads of goodwill that may become very important later. You can practice gratitude not only for what feels good, but also for what teaches you. This is tougher, but powerful. When someone criticizes you and you realize they are right, you can resent them, or you can be grateful that they helped you see a blind spot. When a job ends, you can curse your luck, or you can later be grateful that it pushed you to grow in a new direction. When a relationship falls apart, you can stay stuck in betrayal, or you can eventually be grateful for what it taught you about your own patterns and boundaries. None of this is easy. It usually cannot be done in the middle of the deepest pain. But at some point, after the initial shock, you have a choice. You can fix your mind forever on the wound, or you can gradually broaden your view and ask, what can I learn from this? How can I use this pain to become more awake, not more bitter? This kind of gratitude is directly connected to awakening and wisdom. It is the difference between asking, why did this happen to me? And given that this has happened, who do I choose to become now? The first question focuses on blame. The second focuses on growth. From a karmic perspective, gratitude is like turning toward the light. When you constantly turn toward darkness, rehearsing every insult and injury, your inner world becomes a room with no windows. When you deliberately turn toward the light, remembering kindness, seeing the teachings hidden inside hardship, your room has windows and a door. Fresh air can come in. There is also a link between gratitude and compassion. A grateful person rarely becomes cruel. Why? Because gratitude constantly reminds you that you are dependent on others. Every piece of food, every line of code, every road you drive on, every piece of clothing you wear was made possible by countless people's efforts. When you see this clearly, arrogance softens. You are less likely to step on others, because you understand that you yourself are being carried by invisible hands. Finally, gratitude is a form of practice that shapes destiny, not in a magical way where the universe is a vending machine, but in the sense that every grateful thought, word, and act is a good seed. Over time, those seeds accumulate. They influence how others treat you, how your body responds to stress, how you interpret events, and how the unseen currents of life move around you. You may still face storms, but your boat will be different. Your oars will be different, and sometimes in ways you cannot explain. The waves will part just enough for you to pass. As we come toward the end of this long reflection, I want to invite you to look gently at your own life. Maybe you grew up in a family where gratitude was rarely spoken. Maybe you were taught to focus on what was missing, on what others had that you did not. Maybe you have been disappointed so many times that you are afraid to open your heart to gratitude because it feels like lowering your guard. If that is you, I want you to hear this clearly. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is strength. It takes courage to say thank you in a world that constantly screams not enough. It takes inner power to appreciate what you have while still working to improve what needs changing. Gratitude does not chain you to your current circumstances. It gives you a stable platform from which to grow. So here are a few questions you can sit with after this video. What is one thing in your life that you have complained about for years that you might begin to see differently if you looked for something to be grateful for in it? Who is one person you have never properly thanked, even though they changed your life in some way? Could you, perhaps, send them a message or call them? This weekend, say the words your heart has been carrying. What is one new daily gratitude habit you could realistically maintain for at least a month? Writing, speaking, or silently naming 3 things each night? And are you willing to treat this not as a trend, but as a real spiritual practice? If you feel comfortable, share your reflections in the comments. Tell us about a moment when gratitude changed the way you saw a difficult situation, or a time when remembering someone's kindness gave you strength to keep going. Your story might become a turning point for someone else who is watching this while feeling completely hopeless. If this long script kept you company today, if it made you feel a bit softer, a bit stronger, or a bit more willing to say thank you to life, even in the middle of mess, please remember to subscribe to the channel, click like, and leave a comment. That is how you tell the platform that these slower, deeper conversations about awakening, wisdom, cause and effect, compassion, practice, and destiny are worth sharing with more people. If you would like to support this space more directly, you can also consider joining as a member. That support helps me continue taking short texts like the one behind this video and expanding them into long, story-based scripts that you can listen to, think with, and slowly live into. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. May you remember at least one thing to be grateful for each day, no matter how small. May your gratitude become a lamp in dark times, guiding your steps when the road is unclear. And may the seeds of thankfulness you plant, day by day, grow into a destiny that, even with its storms, is filled with light, kindness, and peace. There are moments when you see something, and your heart simply whispers, "This one is meant for me." Bracelet carries more than beads. It carries intention, protection, and quiet strength. Something to guide your thoughts and keep your spirit steady. If you felt that gentle pull toward any of the bracelets shown, the purchase link is waiting in the description, and the full collection is displayed on our channel store. Follow your intuition. It rarely leads you wrong.